When you think about infrastructure and iconic buildings in the United States, 33 Thomas Street may not come to mind first, but it's at the heart of a much bigger story about surveillance and privacy. Maybe the Empire State Building, One World Trade Center, or those glass towers glowing over Manhattan, symbols of freedom and prosperity. But right in the middle of New York, there's a 29-story tower with 3 basement levels that doesn't have a single window. From the outside, it looks like a dark concrete block. Tom Hanks once called it the scariest building he'd ever seen. Some people believe it could survive a nuclear blast, and that inside it isn't about people at all, but about machines and secret streams of data. That is 33 Thomas Street, AT&T's Long Lines building, believed to be one of the most important surveillance hubs the NSA uses on American soil. In this video, we'll explore how this windowless fortress evolved from a Cold War telecom bunker into a hub at the center of America's high-speed data and surveillance age. Stick with me to the end, because we'll be asking a hard question. In the age of data, is any conversation truly yours, or has everything already been swallowed by concrete boxes like 33 Thomas Street? After World War II, the United States entered a golden age of telecommunications. AT&T spread phone lines across the country, from tiny New York apartments to remote farms in the middle of nowhere. Picking up the receiver and reaching the other side of the country became part of the modern American dream. At the same time, the Cold War was turning fear into a daily routine. The United States and the Soviet Union were racing to build nuclear weapons, and everyone worried about a surprise attack. In the worst-case scenario, phone lines weren't just a convenience. They were the nervous system of the entire country. In Manhattan, President John F. Kennedy and Governor Nelson Rockefeller pushed for fallout shelters inside office buildings. Priority number 1 was simple: keep command and communication systems alive, even if the city above them was flattened. In that context, the government and AT&T set out to build something completely new. A building in New York that would act both as a national telecommunications hub and as a fortress that could keep operating for weeks after a nuclear blast. Right in the middle of Tribeca, a neighborhood once known for its old cast iron buildings, a gray giant rose, the AT&T Long Lines building at 33 Thomas Street. New Yorkers quickly gave it a nickname, the Windowless building. Its specs sound like something pulled from a Cold War novel. Roughly 170 meters tall, 29 stories above ground with 3 underground levels, ceilings nearly 5 to 6 meters high to fit massive telecom racks, and floors designed to handle 200 to 300 kilograms per square meter. The exterior is clad in fire-resistant granite, wrapped around a dense steel frame. Inside, fuel and food storage were reportedly sized to support about 1,500 people for 2 weeks. No balconies, no glass, no windows at all, just solid walls broken only by a few large vents. Before 33 Thomas Street, America's long-distance network depended on hundreds of relay stations that were easy to overload and easy to sabotage. This new building was designed to be the brain of the system, processing hundreds of millions of calls a day and becoming a critical node in the country's communications backbone. On paper, a telecom hub sounds simple. Install the equipment, plug in the cables, and turn on the power. But doing that in the middle of a dense skyscraper city and still making it strong enough to handle the shockwave of a nuclear blast meant engineers had to think like they were building a military installation. The building sits on a heavy steel frame with columns placed close together to handle vibration and shock. 6 solid vertical blocks on the facade hold elevators, ventilation shafts, and service spaces, forming an outer skeleton around the core full of machines. The absence of windows makes it easier to control temperature and protect the 4 ESS electronic switching systems, the digital heart of the long-distance network. Imagine you're in New York calling a relative in California. Your call first hits the local exchange, then it gets routed to 33 Thomas Street. Inside, your voice is converted into digital signals, chopped into small packets, and those 4 ESS switches choose the best route, pushing the signal through cables and data lines across the country until a phone rings on the other side. By the 1990s, an estimated 175 million calls passed through this building every single day, and people only truly understood how important it was on one morning in September 1991. At 4:25 a.m., while the system was switching from the public power grid to backup generators, something went wrong. More than 5 million calls were cut off. Nearly 400 airports across the northeastern United States were thrown into chaos. Flights were delayed and dedicated lines used by the FBI were disrupted. One small technical failure in one building was enough to shake an entire network. But that's only the infrastructure story. The turning point came in 2003 when a technician named Mark Klein at an AT&T facility in San Francisco noticed a room labeled 641A, no door handle, a restricted sign. When he compared the fiber optic layouts, he realized something unsettling. The main backbone cables were being run through a splitter, copying all the data. One copy went where it was supposed to go, the other flowed into that secret room. In other words, every email, VoIP call, photo, and video passing through that facility was being duplicated and sent to another system. According to Klein's account and later documents, that system belonged to the NSA. From that moment, buildings like 33 Thomas Street stopped being passive relay points. They became gateways into a massive surveillance machine. In 2013, Edward Snowden walked away from his job as an NSA contractor, carrying thousands of top-secret documents. In those files, one program kept coming up: Fairview, a deep partnership between the NSA and a major telecom company later identified as AT&T. The documents mentioned a covert site in New York with the code name Titan Point, equipped with 4 ESS switches, satellite dishes on the roof, and a SCIF, a secure compartmented space where intercepted signals could be processed. When journalists started matching building drawings, technical specs, and internal instructions, they came to a chilling conclusion. Titan Point A was very likely 33 Thomas Street. Economically, the Long Lines building was once an insurance policy for a country that depended on landline telephones. A failure there didn't just interrupt conversations. It could slow down financial transactions, disrupt air traffic control, and cause millions of dollars in losses every hour. The 1991 incident showed that concentrating so much activity in one neural node also meant concentrating risk. Socially, once the surveillance story came out, people started asking how private their phone numbers and online activity really were. Knowing that each call, each search query might be stored inside windowless buildings like 33 Thomas Street made many people self-censor. They hesitated to speak freely or challenge authority. That's the invisible cost, a slow erosion of trust. On the geopolitical level, Snowden's documents showed that the NSA wasn't only targeting bad guys. It was also spying on allied leaders, international organizations, and big tech companies. To do that, it needed strategic interception points, Titan Point-style facilities embedded deep inside telecom infrastructure. In that sense, 33 Thomas Street is both a product of the telecom age and a soft weapon in the global struggle for data power. When rare photos from inside 33 Thomas Street and classified documents started circulating, social media exploded. One user joked, "Turns out the scariest building in New York isn't a haunted house, it's a real server room." Another wrote, "We worry about cameras on light poles while our entire internet runs through a concrete box with no windows." Tom Hanks posted a photo of 33 Thomas Street with the caption, "This is the scariest building I've ever seen." That half-joking line turned the structure into a pop culture symbol of our fear of surveillance. On news shows, security experts, lawyers, and journalists argued back and forth. On the one hand, the United States needs intelligence to prevent terrorism. On the other hand, when corporations like AT&T cooperate deeply with the NSA and hand over data from billions of calls, it raises serious questions about legal limits and ethics. Across Europe and in many other regions, political leaders and international organizations were outraged to learn they'd been monitored. A gray building in New York suddenly became the center of a global debate about privacy and data sovereignty. From a distance, 33 Thomas Street is just a vertical block of concrete in a forest of skyscrapers. No logo, no glass, no glittering lights. Look closer, and it becomes a mirror of our time. We live in an era where monuments are no longer carved from stone, but built from data. Power doesn't live only in guns or missiles, but in the ability to watch and remember every tiny movement in our digital lives. 33 Thomas Street is a test of leadership vision. The vision of people who were willing to build a windowless tower to protect a communications network. It's also a test of public trust. Trust from citizens who now have to ask how much power they've handed to systems they barely understand. And it reminds us of something uncomfortable. No infrastructure is truly neutral. Every fiber optic cable, every switching station represents a choice about who gets connected, who gets left out, and who might be quietly watched from behind a concrete wall. Born as a secret Project X in Manhattan, 33 Thomas Street evolved from a long-distance switching hub into a nerve center for the US economy, and then into a symbol of the surveillance state. It shows that infrastructure isn't only roads, bridges, and ports. It's also sealed off towers where someone decides whether the voices of hundreds of millions of people are transmitted, analyzed, or stored forever. So what about you? What shocked you most in this story? The bunker-style architecture in the middle of the city? The glitch that disrupted hundreds of airports? Or the idea that a building with no windows might know more about your private life than some of the people closest to you? If this video gave you something to think about, drop a comment below, hit like, and subscribe to the channel so we can keep exploring more mega infrastructure projects and hidden data fortresses that are quietly shaping the 21st century.